Some members of the armed forces, they're being forced to pay back thousands of dollars in sign-on bonuses when they voluntarily left the military over the COVID-19 vaccine policy, which is a mandate that was lifted just within the past few weeks. Brad Miller is a former lieutenant colonel in the Army, left the service because of that mandate. I know we've spoken before, Secretary Austin rescinding that COVID-19 vaccination mandate for troops as part of the National Defense Authorization Act this year. But the bonuses, the sign-on bonuses, they're tied to how long a soldier agreed to serve. So if you left prior to the commitment, you owe the government back. You don't think this is fair?
Happy to be with you this morning. Thanks for having me. No, I do not think that this is fair. I would like to say that this is shocking and surprising, but the sad truth is this is just more of the same and falls right in line with the other actions that we have seen taken thus far by DoD leadership.
In terms of the Army's regulation, we're actually going to put it up on the screen. This existed before the pandemic. It says that, quote, recoupment of the unearned portion of an enlistment or re-enlistment bonus is required by law when a soldier is separated voluntarily or because of conduct. So, again, this is something that is in the playbook, so to speak. But do you believe that there needs to be a differentiation for those troops who decided, like yourself, to leave the military because of their beliefs surrounding the vaccine, and it should not be listed as voluntary leaving? It shouldn't be listed as misconduct?
Right. So what I think is going on here, if I'm being honest, is I think that this is a retaliatory action. What it is I think it is a reprisal that is being taken that looks a lot like other actions that were taken to make exit from the military as painful as possible for those who stood up to DoD and said, you do not have the authority to order what you're ordering, and I won't go along with it. So this looks a lot like other actions, such as separating individuals without even the dignity of an honorable discharge. So in my mind, it looks a lot more like that, to make their exit from the military as painful as possible, to drive home the point that when DoD makes an order, regardless of whether it's lawful or unlawful, DoD expects that to be followed. Now, I think that that is predicated upon a premise that is not only faulty, but is actually the exact inverse of the truth. DoD would have you believe that these service members breached their contract, that they failed to fulfill their obligations. In reality, what is going on is DoD has breached its contract with service members. When service members join the military, they are not told by a recruiter in the recruitment office that, hey, you're going to participate in medical experiments. That does not happen. You do not sacrifice all of your rights when you join the military. You do suspend some. You do not sacrifice all. And what we're seeing here, once again, is DoD is misrepresenting injections that remain under emergency use authorization as fully licensed products. You cannot be coerced into taking EUA products. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So all of this is based on faulty premise after faulty premise.
Well, and again, I know that you're a very passionate person surrounding your beliefs about the vaccine and that it's experimental, in your opinion. Clearly, you know, the FDA and the CDC have different takes on this. But what we want to point out is there are some who are losing their trust in the Department of Defense and in the military within the branches, all because of these decisions. I know that Senator Ted Cruz is looking to see that those who had to go because they refused to take the shot could get re-enlisted. Would you rejoin again if you could, if they were able to wipe the slate clean, so to speak, surrounding this issue?
Yeah, it's hard to give a definitive yes or no, but I will give you a probably not. And I'll tell you, it goes back to that trust issue that you just mentioned. So you're right. So many service members, even service members who did take the injections and remain in uniform right now, the sad truth is that even they have lost trust in their leadership, just like Americans have lost trust in DoD leadership. So for me to rejoin, there would have to be just a wholesale realignment of priorities for our DoD, and probably the removal and, if I'm being honest, the indictment of a lot of senior DoD leadership.
Really quickly, we're out of time, but I just want to get this in. In terms of the military seeing such low levels of recruitment and the need for more troops at a time when so many Americans are not qualified, not physically able to actually put on the uniform and enlist, do you think that this has been a deal breaker for those who are currently enlisted and those who are hoping to be enlisted?
For sure. I mean, this among other things, but this is absolutely a large reason why so many people have lost trust and no longer believe that DoD senior leadership has the best interests of America at heart.
All right, Brad Miller, thank you very much for your time again. Troops are going to be asked to pay up to $7,000 in enlistment bonuses back to the government, back to the military, if they did leave before their served time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.